She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
Something strange has been found inside Queen Camilla's mansion. Something so shocking that even the FBI couldn't believe their own eyes. For years, everything seemed normal, but behind those fancy walls, a secret was hiding. A secret so big, it could change everything people thought they knew about the royal family. The moment investigators stepped inside, they knew something wasn't right. What they uncovered wasn't just unexpected. It was something no one was supposed to see. What could be hiding in the home of one of the most powerful women in the world? And why was it kept secret for so long? The presence of FBI agents at Queen Camilla's mansion is not something anyone expected. The Federal Bureau of Investigation deals with major crimes, including international fraud, political scandals, and hidden financial transactions. The fact that they were seen at Ray Mill House, Queen Camilla's private residence, raises many questions. One of the biggest mysteries here is why the FBI, an American agency, would be involved in an issue related to the British royal family. Normally, British authorities like MI5, Scotland Yard, or the Metropolitan Police would handle anything related to the monarchy. But this time, something was different. Something was serious enough to bring in US investigators. There are a few possible reasons why this happened, and each one is more shocking than the last. Could it be international crimes? One of the most common reasons for the FBI to investigate someone outside the United States is money laundering or financial crimes that affect American businesses or banks. The royal family has access to billions of dollars, and not all of it is accounted for publicly. Their wealth comes from taxpayer money, private estates, international business dealings, and secret investments. If something illegal was happening behind the scenes, like money being funneled through hidden accounts or offshore transactions, then the FBI would definitely get involved. There have been whispers in financial circles about large amounts of money moving mysteriously between royal accounts and offshore havens. Could Camilla's mansion have held key documents, bank records, or even secret safes that connect to a larger investigation? If this was the case, the FBI might have been looking for evidence of hidden financial activity, possibly linked to tax evasion, fraud, or even funding controversial international deals. But if it wasn't money, what else could be hidden in the mansion? A hidden royal secret? Camilla's Ray Mill House isn't like Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle. Those places are heavily guarded, monitored by British security services, and have strict protocols for who can enter. But Ray Mill House is privately owned by Camilla. That means fewer people watching, fewer restrictions, and more secrecy. If someone wanted to hide something, whether it was stolen artifacts, controversial documents, or even something more personal and damaging, this mansion would be the perfect place. One theory suggests that the FBI might have been looking for classified documents or hidden letters that could expose royal secrets. The British royal family has been in power for centuries, and over that time, there have been many cover-ups, scandals, and untold stories. Could Camilla have been keeping something hidden in her mansion that was never meant to be found? Maybe these were letters from past monarchs, discussing things the public was never supposed to know. Maybe it was evidence of a cover-up related to a major royal scandal. Or maybe, just maybe, it was something that could change the way we see the British monarchy forever. A whistleblower might have tipped off the FBI. The FBI doesn't just investigate random rumors from social media. They need solid evidence before they act. So how did they even get the idea that something suspicious was going on at Camilla's home? One of the most likely explanations is that someone from the inside leaked information. This could be a former royal staff member, a trusted advisor, or even a security official who had access to what was happening behind closed doors. There are a few possibilities. A former employee who saw something unusual and decided to report it. A royal insider. Maybe someone who had a personal reason to bring Camilla down. A legal informant. Someone who had been secretly gathering evidence for law enforcement. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. What if this whistleblower was from Camilla's own circle? Could it have been someone who lost trust in the monarchy? Could it have been someone who was once close to the Queen Consort but later turned against her? Some theories even suggest that Prince Harry could be involved. He has been vocal about his struggles with the royal family, and his book Spare exposed many secrets about Camilla, Charles, and the entire royal institution. Could Harry or someone in his team have come across damaging information and decided to take action? Or was it someone completely unexpected? A former royal security officer, a housekeeper, or even a financial advisor who realized they were involved in something too big to stay silent about? Could there be leaked documents? Another shocking possibility is that the FBI was investigating something that had already been leaked, possibly documents that surfaced online or were handed over to authorities by a journalist, a hacker, or even a political figure. We've seen this happen before. When Prince Andrew's ties to Jeffrey Epstein were exposed, it wasn't through direct police work at first. It was because documents, testimonies, and financial transactions were leaked. What if Camilla's name appeared in a classified file that connected her to something controversial? Maybe it wasn't her directly, but it could be someone connected to her. A friend? A family member? A business associate? If the leaked documents contained evidence of corruption, financial fraud, or international deals that broke the law, then the FBI had every reason to step in. Or was there a secret informant? Here's where things take a completely different turn. What if someone was working as an informant for a long time, gathering details, making notes, and waiting for the right moment to strike? Governments and intelligence agencies have used informants for decades to bring down powerful figures. Could this be a political move against the monarchy? Could someone be trying to weaken King Charles III's reign by targeting Camilla first? The royal family has always had power struggles, conflicts, and rivalries. Could this be a move from someone within the institution, a high-level politician, or even a foreign government trying to expose hidden royal dealings? And if there is an informant, who are they protecting? Themselves? The public? Or someone even more powerful? What led the FBI to the mansion? All these possibilities raise the same question. What was the final trigger that made the FBI take action? Was it a piece of leaked evidence that couldn't be ignored? Was it an anonymous tip-off that came from inside the palace? Was it a direct order from a high-ranking official in the US government? Or was it something even bigger than we realize? Something that could take the entire royal institution down? One thing is clear. The FBI does not waste its time. If they showed up at Camilla's mansion, it means that something serious was happening. Something that could shake the entire royal family. The real question is, how deep does this go? And who else is involved? The discovery inside Camilla's mansion. It was a cold, quiet evening when the FBI agents arrived at Queen Camilla's mansion. The grand estate, standing tall and proud, had always been a place of mystery. But on this night, something unusual was about to happen. The black SUVs pulled up in front of the mansion, their headlights cutting through the darkness. Armed agents stepped out, their faces serious. No one expected the FBI to raid a royal estate, yet here they were, ready to uncover something shocking. As the agents reached the massive front doors, there was a heavy silence. The air felt tense, as if the walls themselves were holding secrets. With a loud knock, they announced their presence. The butler, looking pale and confused, hesitated before opening the door. He had served in this mansion for years, but nothing like this had ever happened before. FBI, we have a warrant, one of the agents said firmly. The butler swallowed hard and stepped aside. As they walked in, the marble floors gleamed under the chandelier's golden light. The mansion was as grand as you'd expect, a home fit for royalty. But the agents weren't there to admire the beauty. They moved quickly, their eyes scanning every detail, looking for the hidden truth. What did they find? The search began in the main hall. The agents spread out, moving from room to room, opening drawers, checking bookshelves, even knocking on walls to see if there were any hidden compartments. At first, everything seemed normal. Just expensive paintings, rare antiques, and lavish furniture. But then, something strange happened. One agent, while inspecting a study room, noticed that one of the bookshelves looked odd. It wasn't placed right. As he reached out and pulled on a book, the entire shelf moved slightly. His heart raced. He signaled his team, and together, They pushed. With a deep, creaking sound, the bookshelf swung open, revealing a hidden doorway. What was behind this secret door? The agents stepped in cautiously, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. The hidden room was small, cold, and filled with old wooden chests. Dust covered everything, but something about this place felt important, like it had been untouched for years, maybe even decades. As they opened the chests one by one, their eyes widened. Inside, they found stacks of old documents, letters, and photographs. Some of them had Princess Diana's name on them. Some had dates from decades ago, letters written in handwriting that looked urgent, desperate. Could these be secret letters Diana had written before her tragic accident? What did they say? The agents carefully took them out, their hands shaking slightly. But that wasn't all. As they searched further, they found jewelry that didn't belong to the current royal collection. Some pieces looked ancient. Others seemed too unique to be just another royal possession. Were these stolen? Were these gifts from powerful people? And if so, why were they hidden? Then came the most shocking discovery yet. In the far corner of the room, beneath an old dusty rug, one agent felt something hard under his foot. He pulled the rug away and found a metal handle. His heartbeat quickened. As he yanked it up, a trapdoor swung open, revealing a dark tunnel leading underground. The secret tunnels beneath the mansion. The agents quickly called for backup before stepping into the unknown. The air inside the tunnel was thick and damp, smelling of earth and something old, something lost in time. The passageway was narrow, just enough for a person to walk through. As they moved forward, their flashlights revealed strange markings on the walls, symbols that didn't make sense. Where did this tunnel lead? After walking for what felt like forever, they found another door. This one was locked, but that didn't stop them. With a strong push, it finally gave way, opening into a hidden underground chamber. And what they found inside was beyond belief. There were files, hundreds of them, stacked on wooden shelves. Some had the names of high-profile politicians, celebrities, and world leaders. Some were marked confidential and sealed tightly. But why were these files hidden beneath Queen Camilla's home? Even more disturbing was a wall filled with photographs. Black and white images of Princess Diana, Prince Charles, young William and Harry, and even members of other royal families from around the world. It was as if someone had been tracking them for years. And then came the biggest shock of all. In the corner of the chamber sat a locked metal box. The agents, now fully aware that they had uncovered something massive, forced it open. Inside, they found audio tapes, letters, and documents that seemed to hint at something sinister, something connected to Diana's tragic death. Could this be the missing piece of a decades-old puzzle? Was there more to Diana's passing than what the world was told? By now, the mansion was crawling with investigators. The items discovered were immediately seized, packed into evidence boxes, and transported away for examination. But the real question was, would the public ever know the full truth? Rumors started flying. Some officials wanted to keep everything secret, while others insisted that the findings should be made public. The palace remained silent, refusing to comment. But one thing was clear. This was not just a simple investigation. This had the potential to shake the very foundation of the British monarchy. Queen Camilla's reaction. As expected, Queen Camilla was furious. The moment she heard about the search, she rushed back to the mansion, demanding answers. Sources say she was seen speaking angrily on the phone, possibly to King Charles or other high-ranking officials. But here's the thing, she didn't seem surprised. It was almost as if she already knew what was in that hidden room. But if that's the case, why was she keeping it a secret? Camilla's public statement was brief. She dismissed the raid as a misunderstanding and claimed the items found had historical significance, but were nothing out of the ordinary. But we all know that's not how the world works. If it was nothing, why was it hidden? Why were there secret tunnels? Why were there documents related to Diana? And most importantly, what happens next? Because if this is just the beginning, then we might be on the edge of one of the biggest royal scandals in history. Could this change everything? Could this have something to do with Princess Diana? Now, this might sound crazy to some, but for years, people have believed that Diana's death wasn't just an accident. Some say she was silenced because she knew too much. Others believe she was planning to expose some dark secrets about the royals. So, here's where it gets interesting. The FBI, yes, the American agency, has never really been involved in the British royal family's affairs like this before. So why now? Why Camilla's mansion? And why did they reportedly seize documents from the property? Could it be possible that those documents contained information that Diana left behind? Maybe letters, secret tapes, or even a journal where she wrote about things she wasn't supposed to talk about. Let's not forget, before she died, Diana herself said that she feared for her life. She even wrote a letter in 1995 to her butler, Paul Burrell, saying, "My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury." This was 2 years before she actually died in a car crash. So, was she warning us? Did she know something that we were never supposed to know? And if she did, could Queen Camilla have been hiding proof of that all these years? Was Camilla being blackmailed? Now let's think about something else. What if this wasn't about Diana exposing the royals, but rather, someone blackmailing Camilla? Camilla has never been a fan favorite. The world loved Princess Diana, and for years, Camilla was seen as the woman who ruined Diana's marriage. Even after Diana's death, people never fully accepted her. But what if Camilla has been keeping secrets to protect herself? Imagine if someone had information about Diana's death or some other hidden royal scandal, something so damaging that it could ruin her and King Charles forever. Wouldn't she do anything to keep that quiet? And if that person tried to blackmail her, demanding money or power in exchange for their silence, wouldn't she need to hide whatever proof they had? Could that be what the FBI found? Maybe secret letters from a blackmailer. Maybe bank transactions showing hush money being paid. Maybe recordings of conversations she didn't want anyone to hear. And here's another thing. Why wasn't the British police involved in this? If something suspicious is going on inside a royal estate, wouldn't it be the UK authorities handling it? Instead, we have the FBI stepping in. Could this mean that this whole thing is bigger than just the UK? Could this involve other countries, powerful leaders, or hidden deals that go beyond just the royal family? And if so, is that why this whole thing feels so secretive? Is this a threat to King Charles's reign? Now, let's talk about the king himself. King Charles has waited his entire life to be king, and now that he finally sits on the throne, this happens. Could this put his entire reign in danger? If the world suddenly found out that the royal family was hiding something huge, something that could make people lose trust in them, what would happen? The royal family already has problems. People aren't as loyal to them as they used to be. Many in the UK believe the monarchy is outdated, and there have even been talks of abolishing it altogether. If this scandal turns out to be something serious, it could be the final nail in the coffin. And let's not forget, Camilla and Charles have always had a complicated past. If this somehow traces back to Diana, it could make Charles look even worse in the public eye. Would people start demanding answers? Would they question his ability to be king? And could this lead to King Charles stepping down? There's already been whispers that Charles might not rule for long. Some believe he'll pass the throne to Prince William sooner than expected. Could this scandal be the reason why? Is there a cover-up happening right now? If this was just a small issue, wouldn't the royals or the government come out and clear the air? Wouldn't they explain why the FBI was at Camilla's mansion? But instead, silence. No one is talking. No official statement. No denials. Nothing. And we all know what that means. When people stay quiet, it's usually because there's something to hide. Could the media be under pressure to keep things quiet? Could the government be working behind the scenes to bury this whole thing before it spirals out of control? Think about it. This is one of the most powerful families in the world. If something truly damaging was found in Camilla's mansion, would we ever even hear about it? Or would it just disappear like so many other royal scandals before it? Because let's be real, the royal family has a history of making problems go away. From affairs to secret deals, to even Prince Andrew's connections to Jeffrey Epstein, Every time something shocking comes out, it just seems to vanish from the headlines after a while. Could this be another case of a royal cover-up? Could we be witnessing something huge, but we just don't realize it yet? And most importantly, what else is being hidden? I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about everything we just talked about? Drop a comment below and let's get the conversation going. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps support the channel. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on what's coming next.
And I have been so deeply moved and humbled by their truly remarkable courage and by their selfless capacity for forgiveness, despite all that they have suffered.
King Charles can finally share what happened is sure to make jaws drop. For decades, rumors and whispers surrounded the real story behind Charles and Diana's marriage, leaving fans with burning questions. Now, after years of regret and hidden truth, Charles is ready to spill the details that could change everything we thought we knew. From unexpected revelations to shocking confessions, nothing remains off limits in this tell-all.
And I also wanted to say how particularly moved and enormously comforted my children and I were, and indeed still are, by the public response to Diana's death.
Are you ready to hear the scandal that could rewrite entire royal history? Early spotlight on King Charles. From the moment he was born on November 14, 1948, King Charles lived in the public eye like few others. Being the first child of Queen Elizabeth II placed him in line for the British throne at just a few years old. As soon as his mother succeeded to the throne in 1952, Charles's every move became news. Journalists and photographers followed him constantly, capturing everything from his first steps to his school outings. This early attention brought both excitement and hardship. On one hand, Charles enjoyed privileges such as living in grand palaces and traveling around the world with his parents. On the other hand, the weight of future responsibility cast a long shadow. He could not simply play outside without a chaperone, or make casual friends without those friendships ending up in the papers. Knowing that he would eventually become king brought an expectation of perfect behavior and never-ending etiquette lessons. As a child, Charles took part in public events that most people never experience. He had to attend formal ceremonies, greet dignitaries, and smile for countless photographs. His parents were often busy with their own duties, so he sometimes felt distant from them. This early exposure to royal life taught him that leadership is more than just ribbon cutting and waving. It involves representing an entire nation and keeping up an image of respect and tradition. Yet Charles remained a curious young boy, eager to learn. He loved the outdoors, playing sports and exploring nature whenever possible. Despite all the ceremony around him, he tried to embrace any normal childhood moment he could find. This dual existence, being both a young heir and a child wanting freedom, shaped his perspective on duty and personal happiness. Over the years, the world watched him grow, picking apart every detail of his upbringing, from his choice of school to his friendships. While the spotlight was harsh, it also formed him into the resolute individual he would become. He learned to handle media pressure, stand by his values, and balance tradition with personal growth. Those early years in the public eye laid the groundwork for his eventual role as Britain's monarch. Challenging childhood. Although King Charles was born into privilege, his childhood was far from easy. In public, he seemed to have it all: a royal title, a future throne, and enrollment in prestigious schools. But behind the castle walls, he faced emotional hurdles that shaped who he is today. He often spoke of feeling somewhat isolated, since his parents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, had demanding schedules and many official duties. As a result, they were often away, leaving young Charles under the care of nannies and tutors. He once admitted that his parents could be both physically and emotionally distant. Growing up under such circumstances, he struggled to find genuine warmth and affection. Many times his reserved nature was misunderstood as aloofness, but it stemmed from a lack of open, playful interaction within his family. Like any sensitive child, he longed for approval and closeness. Additionally, constant media attention made it hard for him to form normal friendships. Classmates sometimes teased him, either because of his royal status or his gentle nature. While many assume being a prince meant an easy life, it actually invited extra scrutiny. Every quirk or emotion he showed sparked feedback from both peers and the wider public. This pressure taught him to shield his feelings, shaping the more guarded side of his personality that people would later observe. However, these hardships also contributed to his ability to empathize with others, since he knew how it felt to be lonely and misunderstood. Charles developed a softer side. In time, he became known for his desire to protect the environment and uplift charitable causes. There is a belief that his early emotional battles gave him a strong sense of compassion for the struggles of everyday people. Overcoming a challenging childhood was no small feat. Charles had to navigate formal expectations, media glare, and his own yearning for unconditional love. These factors fueled both his insecurities and his determination to do well by his future subjects. In many ways, his youthful trials served as stepping stones toward a more empathetic approach to leadership, highlighting how even a prince can grow through adversity. Gordonstoun School experience. Gordonstoun School became a defining chapter of King Charles's youth. Founded by German educator Kurt Hahn, the school was known for its strict discipline, outdoor challenges, and emphasis on self-reliance. Prince Philip, Charles's father, believed that Gordonstoun would make his son tougher, more independent, and ready for the demands of royal life. Though the school was among the most respected in the United Kingdom, it was also notorious for its rigorous routines. For young Charles, the transition was tough. He was a sensitive boy, more inclined toward quiet reflection than braving cold mornings and adventure drills. At Gordonstoun, students were expected to wake up early to take cold showers, keep their dormitories spotless, and participate in various sports. The school highlighted character growth through hardship, a principle that clashed with Charles's gentle manner. He found the days exhausting and sometimes felt overwhelmed by the physical demands and the teasing he faced from classmates. Still, he would later admit that his time at Gordonstoun shaped his resilience and helped him discover inner strengths. He learned how to handle criticism, adapt to unfamiliar settings, and rely on himself in challenging situations. In a 1975 interview, he reflected that the school taught him much about his own abilities, hinting that the difficulties sparked personal growth. He also said that his father's insistence on sending him there, though harsh at times, forced him to confront the real world in ways a pampered prince rarely would. Beyond discipline, Gordonstoun offered Charles opportunities in leadership. The school believed in giving senior students responsibility to oversee younger ones, which helped Charles practice guiding and supporting peers. He also found moments to appreciate nature, exploring the rugged landscape surrounding the campus. That closeness with nature might have nurtured his lifelong advocacy for environmental causes. Despite the strictness, he later expressed gratitude for his Gordonstoun experience. While he often joked that his father's choice of school was a harsh move for someone so sensitive, he ultimately acknowledged its benefits. By enduring trials of physical endurance, structure, and teamwork, Charles discovered personal qualities that would serve him well as he prepared for the responsibilities of a future king. University education king. Charles's choice to attend university was a defining moment that broke royal tradition and sparked debate within the British royal family. Typically, heirs to the throne were expected to enter military service straight after their formal schooling. However, Charles had other plans. After completing his A-levels at Gordonstoun, he announced his intent to pursue a degree at the University of Cambridge. Many in the royal circle were uneasy about this decision, fearing it might reflect poorly on him as a future monarch. Critics claimed it showed a lack of discipline and a desire to dodge the rigors of military life. Yet Charles stood firm, determined to prove that scholarship and service could go hand in hand. Despite the stir it caused, his time at Cambridge became an invaluable experience. He studied anthropology, archaeology, and history, eventually earning a second-class lower Bachelor of Arts, an achievement that made him the first British heir apparent to receive a university degree. During his studies, the media kept a close watch on his every move. Reports of Charles strolling through campus with classmates or attending social events always made headlines, reflecting a public keenly curious about how he would balance academic pursuits with his royal obligations. For Charles, this period was about more than attending lectures and writing essays. It allowed him a taste of relative independence, a chance to mingle with fellow students and immerse himself in intellectual debate. he engaged in discussions ranging from historical events to global challenges, broadening his cultural awareness. This exposure seemed to strengthen his worldview and shape his future philanthropic interests. In particular, experiencing life beyond palace walls helped him understand ordinary people's struggles, an understanding that would later influence his passion for charitable causes. Still, not everyone was so accepting of his academic adventure. Some family members felt that time spent away from official duties hindered his readiness for the crown. Yet, Charles's resolve only grew stronger in the face of doubt. Even as tension brewed within the royal household, he persisted, focusing on exams and forming friendships that would last for years. Military career. After earning his university degree, King Charles turned his attention to the military, a path many had expected him to follow from the start. Criticism had built up when he initially postponed his service, with voices suggesting he feared the harsh environment. Yet Charles was determined to prove otherwise. Early in his second year at Cambridge, he requested Royal Air Force training, surprising both the public and members of his family. This move signaled his readiness to take on physically and mentally demanding challenges. Charles began his preparatory instruction by studying a range of technical subjects, including aerodynamics, navigation, and aviation medicine. According to Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Johns, who oversaw parts of Charles's training, the young man displayed remarkable concentration and a fierce determination to excel. While critics still questioned whether a sensitive prince could handle strict discipline, Charles's instructors saw a different side, a focused student who refused to fail. His military journey didn't end with the RAF. Charles soon embarked on a career in the Royal Navy, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. He took an accelerated course at Britannia Royal Naval College, quickly adjusting to life on ships, destroyers, and frigates. Over time, he served as a gunnery officer on the HMS Minerva and took on responsibilities that tested both his leadership and technical skills. His active involvement in real operations, such as monitoring a Soviet submarine, showcased his calm under pressure and willingness to adapt to life at sea. One highlight of Charles's service was his development as a pilot. He spent countless hours in the cockpit, perfecting maneuvers and formation flying. His dedication paid off when he earned the Double Diamond Trophy, marking him as one of the top pilots in his class. Eventually, Charles advanced to commanding officer of the minesweeper HMS Brownington, where he led a small crew through routine exercises and real missions involving leftover World War II ordnance. By December 1976, he concluded his active military career with the rank of commander. Though some once doubted his ability to withstand rigorous training, he left with a record that spoke volumes about his commitment and skill. In many ways, his time in uniform demonstrated that a future monarch could balance tradition with personal ambition, all while earning the respect of both royal and military circles. It was one more stepping stone on a journey that would soon lead him to a deeply complex chapter of life. Meeting Princess Diana. Meeting Princess Diana. The story of King Charles meeting Princess Diana often leads to mention of a shooting party hosted by Diana's older sister, Sarah. But according to Charles himself, their very first meeting happened in a less glamorous setting, a freshly plowed field. In that moment, Diana was a shy 16-year-old, while Charles was in his late 20s, dating Sarah. Despite the age gap and the prince's existing relationship, Diana captured Charles's attention. He was charmed by her youthful spirit and unique warmth, but with his eyes fixed on Sarah at the time, he barely acted on those feelings. Not long after, Charles joined Sarah for a ski trip, and their blossoming relationship was widely documented by the media, who celebrated them as a potential match. Behind the scenes, though, something else was happening. During a gathering at Sarah's invitation, Charles and Diana ended up talking in private. She led him on a brief tour of her home's gallery, and he found her kindness and energy irresistible, even if he couldn't publicly show it. Meanwhile, Diana was flattered by the prince's genuine interest. Yet the situation was far from simple. Sarah was still very much in the picture. In a surprising twist, Sarah herself ended up ending the relationship with Charles. She gave a frank interview to a magazine, boldly stating she was not in love with him, nor had any intention of marrying into the royal family. The public was stunned. considering how they had seemed happy together during their ski outings. Within months, Sarah married someone else, causing the media to pivot and focus on the evolving connection between Charles and Diana. With Sarah now out of the equation, Charles felt freer to pursue the younger sister who had captivated him from that first encounter. Still, there were unavoidable concerns about their 12-year age difference and Diana's limited experience with the public eye. Undeterred, they began seeing more of each other. The royal family, always conscious of appearances, kept a close watch on their dates, intrigued by the possibility that Diana might be a suitable bride for the future king. Marriage to Diana. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was hailed as the event of the century, a dazzling ceremony watched by hundreds of millions worldwide. From the outside, it looked like the ultimate fairy tale. Royal pomp, horse-drawn carriages, and a stunning bride adored by onlookers everywhere she went. Yet beneath the grand displays of love and pageantry, trouble brewed. Diana, who was only 20 when she wed the future king, soon found that royal life was far more complex than she had imagined. One early warning sign came during their engagement interview. When asked if they were in love, Diana confidently said yes, but Charles replied, "Whatever in love means." His awkward response drew public concern, and privately, Diana admitted that it hurt. Troubles mounted further during their engagement when she discovered Charles had purchased a gift for his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles. Though Diana considered calling off the wedding, she pressed on, buoyed by her sister's support, but harboring deep fears about Charles's loyalty. Their wedding day remained a spectacle of joy, at least to the millions watching on television. Behind the scenes, however, cracks formed in the marriage almost immediately. Diana struggled with the relentless scrutiny of the press and the expectations placed on her as a royal wife. Charles, meanwhile, did little to hide his lingering attachment to Camilla, fueling Diana's worries and later her heartbreak. Over time, the emotional strain took a visible toll. Diana spoke openly about her feelings of inadequacy, and Charles, unsure how to handle her distress, seemed to drift further away. Eventually, the rumors of Charles's ongoing affair became impossible to ignore. Diana confronted Camilla directly, pleading for her to leave Charles alone. When that failed, the tension boiled over, leaving Diana feeling more isolated than ever. The media, hungry for drama, devoured every hint of conflict. The final blow arrived when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked to the press, exposing the true extent of their relationship. Faced with a scandal that rocked the monarchy, Charles publicly admitted the affair. A deeply wounded Diana, in turn, shared her side in televised interviews, famously remarking that, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." In 1992, they formally separated, finalizing their divorce in 1996. What began as a fairy tale had become a cautionary story of love, betrayal, and public intrusion, forever shaping how the world viewed the House of Windsor and the couple at its center. Infidelity and marital troubles. The marriage of King Charles and Princess Diana was once the world's favorite fairy tale, but underlying tensions and hidden affections soon cast a shadow over their union. Early on, Diana sensed Charles's lingering fondness for his former flame, Camilla Parker Bowles. Although Diana hoped that marriage and motherhood would draw Charles closer, those dreams gradually faded as Camilla remained in the picture. Hurt and confused, Diana confronted Charles about the gift he had bought Camilla shortly before their wedding, an omen that her new life might not be a peaceful one. Taking on royal duties brought more public attention, leaving little room for private resolutions. Diana tried to hold her marriage together despite feeling increasingly overshadowed by Camilla's presence. Pleas and direct confrontations proved fruitless. Charles, meanwhile, seemed torn between his sense of duty to Diana and his emotional history with Camilla. Eventually, their marital strains spilled over into media reports, fueling endless tabloid gossip. Every time Diana appeared at a public event looking downcast or teary-eyed, the press speculated about Charles's behavior and the cracks in their relationship. The unsustainable tension came to a head when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla leaked, confirming beyond doubt that the prince had continued his affair. The tapes featured candid exchanges, revealing the depth of their emotional bond. As these calls became front-page news, any hope of salvaging the royal marriage dimmed. In a bid to manage the crisis, Charles sat down for a televised interview where he finally admitted to cheating on Diana. This public confession shattered the prince's carefully managed image of respectability and left Diana feeling betrayed on a global stage. Although the divorce was still months away, the emotional damage was done. Diana's heartbreak and Charles's public mea culpa generated an unending storm of media scrutiny. Many who had idolized Charles for his dedication to royal duty now questioned his character. Some sympathized with Diana, seeing her as a young woman thrust into an unforgiving spotlight and betrayed by her husband's continued closeness to Camilla. Others blamed both sides, arguing that royal life created pressures no marriage could endure. By the time legal separation became official, the couple's relationship had devolved into a series of painful headlines and regretful revelations. What started as a storybook wedding in front of nearly 1 billion onlookers turned into a cautionary tale of unresolved past relationships, public obsession, and the heavy toll of infidelity on even the most glamorous unions. Diana's struggles and legacy. When Diana entered the royal family, many saw her as the embodiment of a real-life Cinderella. A shy, young nursery school assistant swept up in a dazzling romance with the future king. Yet almost from the start, she struggled beneath the intense spotlight and the rigid protocols of royal life. Her natural warmth often clashed with the formal reserve expected of a princess, and every misstep drew tabloid headlines. Over time, these pressures took a serious emotional toll, leaving her feeling isolated and unsure of whom to trust. Beyond her marital woes, Diana battled personal insecurities. She spoke candidly about her struggle with bulimia, which she traced directly to the emotional pain and self-doubt she experienced in her relationship with Charles. Whenever she felt anxious about an upcoming event or a perceived rejection, the pressure became unbearable. Her willingness to open up about bulimia shattered royal norms, exposing a frank vulnerability that endeared her to millions who recognized their own battles in her story. Despite these struggles, Diana found her own voice and sense of purpose through humanitarian work. Early on, she displayed a gift for connecting with people from all walks of life. Children facing critical illness, victims of poverty, and those living with HIV/AIDS all found a compassionate ally in Diana, who wasn't afraid to kneel down, embrace them, and show a human touch that broke centuries of royal formality. This empathy became a hallmark of her public persona, earning her the nickname, the People's Princess. Even as her marriage unraveled, Diana's global reputation soared, buoyed by her devotion to charitable causes. She visited hospitals, comforted the sick, and championed controversial topics like landmine clearance. Though her personal life remained fraught with heartbreak, Diana's work on behalf of the marginalized offered a sense of meaning. In telling the world about her own pain, she helped to break stigmas surrounding mental health while using her platform to shine a spotlight on overlooked communities. By the time she and Charles divorced, Diana's place in history had already been secured. Her tragic death in 1997 only cemented her status as a beloved icon whose struggles made her relatable and whose compassion inspired countless others. Today, her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, carry her legacy forward with their own charitable projects and public engagements. Through them and the countless lives she touched, Diana's spirit endures, reminding the world of the power in empathy, vulnerability, and the courage to speak one's truth.